everyone. It's that time once again. Thank you so much for stopping by as we take a look at a horror anthology series. Yes, an independent horror anthology series. It's the latest entry into the High series of films. And no, I'm not talking about Evil Bong High. I'm talking about the High 8 series. This one's called High Fear. And we get an anthology story with a wraparound story of Natalie, who's an artist who's contracted to do 4 stories about what your biggest fear is. And so she illustrates 4 stories out, and we see those play out as 4 short films. But that's not exactly what the client's looking for, and we soon see that these 4 short stories are not exactly what he wants Natalie to reveal. I dug this quite a bit. Definitely got that Creepshow vibe to it. They're going for that Creepshow feel. From the wonderful score that they have, the theme to this film is fantastic. I love it. To the overall look, definitely looks like it was pulled from the 80s for the majority of this film. Some of the special effects show that they're more modern, but overall it does have that kind of retro feel, but it at least has that spirit of like Tales from the Crypt and Creepshow, and they embrace that and capture that well here. Now, the first story that we get here is Losing It at the Devil's Whorehouse, directed by Todd Sheets, veteran independent horror director, and I loved this. It's got all the signature Sheets stuff in here, a bit of sexuality, a bit of gore, some wonderful practical effects, and a bit of a twist as well. Todd bringing it all and making it fun, kind of like this alternative story to a Bordello of Blood. It definitely has that type of spirit to it. The practical effects, again, look great in here. They do some wonderful lighting things to make them even look more visceral and creepy, to where you can't quite see everything, but yeah, you can tell, or you let your imagination go what's going on. Dylan Fawn Harvey shows up in here, and she's having a blast as her Jezebel character. It's always great to see Harvey on screen, and she really brings it, and you can tell she's just getting into this role, and I love what they did to her character, and I love the twist, because most horror shorts have that other shoe drop, that other twist, if you will, and all 4 of these definitely have that, and Losing It at the Devil's Whorehouse has quite a humorous twist to it, and so yeah, well done there. And then the next story that we get is When the Shadows Come Alive, which was directed by Tim Ritter. And Tim Ritter gives us a story. This one definitely has more of a grindhouse feel. It's got more of that grain to it, more of the dirty look to it, for sure. Giving us a hillbilly horror film that takes a little while to get to where it wants to go, but once it gets there, the payoff, I thought, was well done. It just was kind of interesting to see how the one story, because we actually kind of got 2 stories that cross each other into one here. We get opening with this story with the kind of hillbilly scary guy and involving a druggie, and then we go to this preacher who's not as wholesome as he portrays, and he doesn't exactly have a great temperament, and he takes that temperament out on his wife, and we see how those actions have an impact on both his wife and him, with a bit of a twist for their story, and then we see how it's all connected. So he brings it back around, which I very much appreciated, because I was like, were we just going to let that dangling participle out there? But no, he brings it around, tightens up, and gives us a fun one with some fun makeup and some interesting character designs. Loved the wardrobe and makeup effects that they did here for these backwoods folks that we end up meeting. Then we get in here, The Streets Are Watching by Anthony Cantonese, and this one was done well too, I thought. It gets a little existential at first. It kind of, almost a noir feel. We've got a young group of people who are homeless, and we see kind of the challenges that they have and the characters that they know, including one called Crazy Killer Carl, who everybody has their own kind of urban legend story about him, because he seems to have something slightly off with him mentally. He keeps going around punching the air and telling people he has to save them. Well, when he focuses on our main character here and says that he has to save her, she gets scared, wondering if she's going to be his next victim, and we see how that takes a twist. And yeah, Crazy Killer Carl is played wonderfully by Brandon E. Brooks. He was the highlight for me in this short, and I wasn't quite sure where they're going with it. And there's some interesting effects that they do in here, and another interesting story with a great shoe drop. And then finally, there's a Day Out of Days, directed by Brad Sykes. And this one, wow, it did not quite end up where I thought it was starting from, but it's a great buildup, and you have only three actors in this one, and all of them do very well in here. We have PJ Brescia, who plays a PA who brings his girlfriend along to a shoot, and they're at a cabin, but they're the only ones there, and things seem slightly off, but they're okay. But soon Alexis shows up. She's hair and makeup, but little does Laura know, who is Taylor's girlfriend, that Taylor and Alexis have a history, and we see how things escalate as Laura starts to act strangely. Things start to take a turn, and it never seems to get dark out, even at 9 p.m. at night. And all of this takes this kind of surreal, wonderful turn in A Day Out of Days. Beautifully directed. I loved how this all the performances in here, like I said, PJ Brescia, and I hope I pronounced that right, he does great in here as Taylor. But who really I really enjoyed in this was Ingrid Dedemir Hansen as Laura, and Julie Ann Prescott, who we've seen in many short films, the veteran actress playing Alexis' character. These two really, I loved the dynamic between them, the word play, the tension that you feel between them, their performances, everything that these two ladies do really was a highlight. And this is probably, for me, my favorite of the short films. And then the wraparound story, Kristen Lorenz playing Natalie. I enjoyed how that ended. Definitely Tales from the Crypt Creepshow ending there with our wraparound story, with some wonderful illustrations as well. And yeah, overall, folks, sorry this is a little long, but I wanted to cover each one of these because all of these deserve your attention, and so does High Fear. Out now on VOD. If you like your indie horror anthology that's got a bit of a grindhouse edge, an old school feel, then you're going to want to check this out, especially if you're a fan of the other High film series films. So there you have it, folks. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your support. Please like, subscribe, bells and whistles and all that here on the YouTube. Help us get past 2,500 subscribers by the end of the year. We can do that with your help. Thank you for watching and your support, and until next time, remember, keep that ticket stub.